do 802.1x, I should have the ability to do an exception for that particular element. And also, there's also a cost for doing this. But the problem is also with Cisco is what network access, network admission control capability you would like to have. If you deploy either NAC L3 IP or NAC L2 IP, then you have the ability to bypass these solutions. And why? Because first, L3 IP is being deployed using routers only. It means that all the local subnet that you may be connected to will still be able to be infected with whatever you would like. And still, if you would like to attack one of the systems and use this as an access proxy to reach the other networks, then you still will be able to do that. Also, the NAC L2 IP, it applies per interface. It's triggered by either DTP or ARP. So if you do not trigger these, you'll still be able to tunnel through traffic through that particular interface. And also, it applies per interface, but still you're able to connect the hub, a Cisco IP phone, and basically have another network or another subnet down there that the switch will not be aware that it's actually not a direct connect. Not that it's not a good thing, but still you'll be able to connect different things to that particular area. Again, the problem here is that when you don't have the particular Cisco Trust agent, you need to manually configure exceptions, so you'll be able to connect all of your devices that do not have the agents, such as your Macintosh machines, such as your Solaris machines, Linux machines, and all those machines to the network. There's also an offer to do exceptions by device, by Cisco device, according to the CDP. Well, that's another not such good thing to enable. So basically, if you have no knowledge regarding what the exception is, you have no knowledge regarding the particular OS, so you can go to an element that you know that it is an exception, plug it out in the network fellowship, and you'll have the same access rights as that particular device. Especially with L3 IP, you can still infect the all local subnet and still own machines on that particular network without the knowledge of that particular network access control means. There's also the ability to use an audit server to audit several elements on the network if they don't have the Cisco Trust agent, meaning to fire up a vulnerability management solution, assess the security of the device, and then say, okay, it is allowed or not on my network. Again, the same problem here. If I know how to defend my particular element, then I will be able to have good defenses. I'll be able to admit myself to the network. Another problem is, which is also shared here, is the inability to detect network address translation. Still able to detect whatever virtualization solution that is a freeware to the network, and basically use that in order to allow other element through an authenticated element to get on the network. And of course, when I don't know how my network looks like, I do not know where to go and which switches and routers I need to enable in order to do network admission control. The gentleman here that actually said before talked about the ability to do DNS. Here's an example from the Cisco Network Admission Control Framework Configuration Guide that talks about which are the different protocols that needs to be enabled and what is the default quarantine ACL that needs to be deployed on the routers and switches. As you may see, the UDP to DNS is allowed through everywhere that you would like. Of course, everybody needs to support EAP over UDP and such. So still, you're able to tunnel information through DNS. You will be able to tunnel information through other means. These will be still available for you as a venue to pass information. Since they stole my 10 minutes of my time, I'll go real quick to another thing that I would like to say. I swear I'll finish in 5 minutes. Okay. There are several endpoint security assessments that can be done using agent or not using agents, and there are some issues here as well. First of all, it's a good thing to have an agent on a box. Tells you what's the security posture of that particular machine. You get all the information you need. You're able to do good quarantine, good remediation, and everything. The problem here is that we have one big problem is that we need to know where to deploy these type of clients. Because if we don't know what's on the network and which are our devices, we're not able to deploy the clients where they need to go to. Also, and this is something that not a lot of people are talking about, is what is the type of information that are actually these solutions are looking for. They're looking for the OS version, they're looking for the patch version, they're looking for the service pack version, they're looking for the patches, they're looking for the antivirus, and they're looking for the different patches installed. How many of you ever played with the Windows registry? How many of you have seen how it's easy to change these values? So basically, if I would like to put my computer, which may not have the right patches or may not have the right operating system version, all I need to do is, in most of the cases, is go to the registry keys that holds this type of information and manually change them. So I will be able to admit myself to the network. Still don't have the real software, but my Windows registry tells me that these are the right values and these are the right checks that needs to be there. Another point that I would like to make about the risks that are out there. The risks usually are, of course, that there's a risk mitigation when we say, okay, these elements have the type of software that we would like to have on the network, and we sure lower the risk to our network. But at the end of the day, the type of risks that we would like also to combat and network admission control, network access control may or may not help us to do is, first of all, to defend against 0 days. So still, even if I have my patches, even if I have the accurate information, even if I have my antivirus signatures, a 0 day will still be able to infect me, and then it will still be able to get to the network. And also, if someone knows how to use this, if someone knows how to attack and use a 0 day, my network is still vulnerable. The funniest thing still that I would like to make, and maybe it will be my last point, is that most of the solutions take a certain element which does not comply with the security policy and put it on a separate subnet or VLAN and quarantines this element. Usually it will be a one happy family of problematic elements that will share the same subnet. So if I'm an attacker and I would like to attack an internal network, I don't care to be admitted to the network. I don't want to be admitted to the network. All I want to do is be on the quarantine side. Because guess what? All those elements that are on the quarantine side, these may share a certain vulnerability. These may share a certain problem. These may have a problem themselves. So what I do, I need to admit myself to the quarantine side of the network. I need to understand how these elements are vulnerable, if there is something I can use in order to attack them and penetrate into them, because not all of the agents that may be installed on them may support firewall, may support other things. So still they are vulnerable to certain types of attacks because, hey, they were not admitted, right? So I will go, I will attack them, I will put something that not a lot of people knows about, and maybe the security companies that put the agent on do not know about, and I will be able to control them, although, oh yeah, now they're admitted, now they're remediated, but still I have control. So that's another big thing. So the solution for that is to put each and every one of them in its own private VLAN without an access to another one, because if you're still able to access them when you're in a quarantine, that's the end game. That is even worse than admitting yourself without the need to be there. Let's see if there is also something else that I want to say. Questions real quick? Yes. Yes, let me just see. Okay, I just want to show this. Basically, this is a statement from Microsoft. I do appreciate them putting that on because at the end of the day, they already understood what this is all about. And let me just put the first slide or one of the other slides. Other questions? So thank you for having me and thank you for your time.